Welcome back to Reimagining Our Faith. On Monday, I shared how Jesus spent time eating meals with people on 10 different occasions in the Gospel of Luke. When Jesus spent this much time doing anything in the Gospels, we should pay special attention. And we certainly can by taking a deeper look at these stories, especially when we look at them together. I have recalled several of these stories on both Monday and Wednesday, but here are the rest of the stories I have yet to mention. Starting off, there is Zacchaeus, where Jesus invites himself over to the house of an unliked tax collector. Jesus also goes to the banquet of a house of another tax collector named Levi, who is later known as Matthew, after Jesus had just called him to be one of his disciples. Levi invited all of his friends to the banquet, many of whom were other tax collectors and sinners. The next dinner party we find Jesus attending is at the house of Simon, a Pharisee. During the dinner, a woman who is labeled as sinful enters, crying at the feet of Jesus, and then dries them with her hair and anoints them with perfume. At our final dinner party, Jesus arrives at yet the house of another Pharisee, where the guest lists include many Pharisees and lawyers. There is something in common with the rest of these stories, and it is that Jesus chose to eat with people that many of us would never dare to have a conversation with. In all of these stories, Jesus doesn't just tell us to look out for the poor, the downtrodden, the wealthy man who is seen as evil. He invites them to have dinner, leading by example. And when he dines with them, he is able to elevate those who are not seen as worthy by placing them at the same level as himself. And he is able to call out the wealthy and the hypocrites when they step out of line, because conversations have a deeper impact when they happen while sharing a meal, where one cannot simply walk away. We have to sit in the dialogue and truly hear it. And when we do so, it will hopefully change our lives if we let it. This is why in the remaining verses from Luke 14:21 through 23, we find Jesus finishing up his parable of the Great Banquet by inviting everyone. It says, "Go out at once into the streets and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, the lame." Once these people have been invited, the servant said, "There is still room." So the master said to go into the roads, into the lanes, and compel people to come so that my house may be filled. We are left with this call in our own lives, being the charge Jesus laid before us in this parable. My question to you is, who is missing from our table? Who is missing at our church? Go and invite them to God's great banquet, as I hope this charge helps us to reimagine our faith.